Hello and welcome guys, this is take 2 of trying to make this video. I've been interrupted. Merry Christmas. This video is going to go live, assuming everything goes to plan, on Christmas Day 2022. Normally I don't do a video like this, but this year is, as much as I hate to admit it, the 30th anniversary of my favourite Christmas as a kid. So Christmas Day 1992, I got a Commodore Amiga A600, the Wild, the Weird and the Wicked pack. So just to give you a bit of background, the previous year, Christmas 91, pretty much everybody I knew, or a good percentage of them, all seemed to get Amigas for Christmas. That just seems to have happened at my school. And they're all talking about it in the bus and the way in January. I couldn't even tell you what I got in Christmas 91. I genuinely don't know. So and then my friend Barry and his big brother had got one. You've heard me talk about Barry's Amiga, which I now own. So yeah, so I spent the entire year hearing about how great this machine was for games, and had a proper keyboard. You could type on it. People were starting to use it for school reports and stuff. So obviously, I wanted one, and I had going from a Commodore 64 to an Amiga is night and day. That's not even... So the entire year I've been waiting and hoping, and I know for a fact my mum couldn't barely afford this, and then even at the time I knew I was asking for too much, and I still got it. I don't know how much she ended up paying, because I know it was bought from my catalogue, one of those like buy now pay later things. So I was just looking it up in a magazine I've got here. I suspect the price for that pack was £330-ish, and around about. That's what the magazines are showing. So the catalogue probably wasn't even as good as that. So that's using an inflation calculator, which is not a great idea, comes out to about £665, which for one present, when you have those other siblings and there's just one adult in the household, that's a lot of money. Yeah. So I got it. I mean, I think the original plan was to get me the Cartoon Classics pack, like literally everybody else. They either had the Cartoon Classics or the Batman packs. So, but of course, by that point, Commodore, in one of its many boneheaded manoeuvres, was, let's stop selling that, and we'll start selling the 600 and 1200 range, aka the 1200, also known internally as the 300. There's a cut down 500, new design motherboard. It was out. I didn't even realise that the machine itself was out of date before it was even on the market. I mean, on Christmas Day I had a couple of issues of Amiga format to read, including one of my favourites. This is Amiga format from January of 93, so I had this on Christmas Day. I remember distinctly playing the Lemmings 2 demo. Ironically, a lot of games mentioned in this issue I ended up becoming some of my favourite games of all time. Anyway, even in here it talks about the new 1200, and even later on people like Dave Haney admitted that all Commodore Amigas should have come with hard drives by this point, and they didn't. Even the following year they were still not coming with hard drives. In fact, for an external hard drive, PCMCI, so it fitted in the side, so this was either 500, this was either Amiga's 1200 or 600 compatible, a Zippo external hard drive. Oh, nope, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's for this. Well, here we've got a 40 meg hard drive with 8 meg of RAM for the Amiga A500 was £300. So the cost of the computer again. But by that point they were becoming necessity. So Christmas Day comes, I get my Amiga. It's got the Wild, the Weird, the Wicked pack. So that means you get Putty, which is an okay platformer, quite enjoy it. Pushover, one of my favourite Amiga games of all time. Jeff Cramman's Grand Prix, which is brilliant. Deluxe Paint 3, which is a super powerful tool. I remember using that for a lot of years. I also had some backup games by this point my friends had given me to try. So I remember playing Jimmy White's Whirlwind Snooker on Christmas Day. I then remember somehow, like your operating system, the Workbench discs, the first thing the manual said was back them up, and of course I didn't. And I somehow managed to erase the startup on the original Workbench disc, so I ended up getting a copy of my friend about 8 months later, because, I remember text-to-speech and in my head, that is one of the most vivid Christmas days of all time. I can't, I'm struggling to put into words how much of an influence that computer was on me, even though I actually only really had it for about 2 and a bit years, because by the end of '94, Commodore had been bankrupt, SCOM had been... By the end of '94, I had a 486 DX2 PC, and I was running DOS and Windows, and then I switched to Windows 95. I remember thinking that, especially Windows 3.1 or 1.1 or for workgroups, it wasn't as feature-rich as Amiga Workbench was from years earlier. Yeah. Following year, Christmas '93, I got a Panasonic KXP 2180 printer, which is in this magazine and listed at £200. I also bought myself another megabyte RAM upgrade, took it to 2 meg. I had an external floppy drive. I remember the internal floppy drive failing and having to buy one, but at this point I was working, and yeah, I remember that drive being about 50 quid. I just have so many vivid memories. I mean, I was just looking through this magazine. So I do have one in the loft. I have a Wildly Weird and a Wicked pack. Not the original one I had. I have the exact one, complete, boxed. Looks great. Just looking through, there's so many good games in here that became some of my favourite Amiga games. There we go. There's the printer. That one there. Got that the following year, '93. Jesus, could have had an Amiga 1500 for 4,400. Here we go. Amiga Pack 1, the new Wildly Weird and the Wicked. There was a lot of competition at this point. I mean, a lot of places were throwing in extra software. 318.99. Pack 2, which was the Epic Pack, which means you got a 20 or a 40 meg hard drive. 20 meg hard drive was 460. Pack, I don't even know what pack that is. Amiga BCS pack. Oh, it's the basic pack. We didn't get like a game with it. But I mean, this issue even talks about Amiga 1200. But they were still trying to say you could get. This company said they did have 500 pluses, but I know for a fact my mum tried to get one, she couldn't. So I ended up with a 600. But some soup. There's an advert for History Line. Christ. 1914-18. That's a game that you really need multiple disk drives or a hard drive installed to play. Well, here we go. Here's the Amiga Format News, January '93. Although the H1200 is not yet available with a factory installed hard drives, many firms will fit one. Basically, they're saying that you need a hard drive. Demon can offer you a 20 megabyte equipped A1200 for £499. A 40 for £569. They also offer sizes up to 330 megabytes and 416 megabytes for £1,200. Wow. That's a lot of money in 93, 92, 93. So, yeah. My favourite Christmas of all time as a child. Just, I remember the unmistakable joy of firing that machine up for the first time, using text-to-speech, using it talk, playing games. Now, I had a joystick, but I can't remember if it was one I kept from when I had my Commodore 64 or not. Because I remember playing games with a joystick, but what joystick that is actually now escapes me. It could be something really terrible. Could be like a Cheetah 125 Plus or something like that, or some quick shot job. Because I had a zip stick later, but not on Christmas Day of that year. But like most people back then, well, kids back then, we ended up with hundreds of copied games, hundreds of them. I remember spending every penny I had on blank discs to get more games. I know people who erased retail games to put copied games on them. Yeah, but just thought I'd come on, do a quick video, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Talking about my favourite Christmas of all time, Christmas 1992. Take care, guys. Bye bye.